Tokyo today is a glittering metropolis of steel and glass. But in the 17th and 18th centuries, when it was still called Edo, the city was a tinderbox. Imagine endless rows of wooden houses, walls of paper screens, roofs of shingles and thatch. It was a city of constant danger. One spark, one overturned lantern, and half the neighborhood could be gone by morning. The people of Edo lived with fire every day, and to fight it, they created firefighting brigades that became more than just first responders. They were heroes, outlaws, fashion icons, and sometimes street brawlers. These were the legendary hikeshi, the firefighting gangs of Edo. Edo was one of the fastest-growing cities in the world, with over 1 million residents by the 18th century. But this growth came at a cost. Houses were packed close together, separated by narrow alleys, and almost everything was made of wood. That's why Edo earned the nickname Kaji no Machi, the city of fires. The worst blaze was the Great Fire of Meireki in 1657. It burned for 3 days, destroyed nearly 2/3 of the city, and killed an estimated 100,000 people. In its wake, the Tokugawa shogunate realized, if Edo was to survive, fire prevention had to be a priority. By the late 1600s, the shogunate organized official fire brigades. There were several kinds: daimyo hikeshi, operated by powerful feudal lords to protect their mansions; jobikeshi, the shogunate's own elite fire corps, usually staffed by samurai; and most famously, the machi-bikeshi, the town brigades created in 1718 to defend the common people's neighborhoods. These were not your typical water bucket brigades. Edo firefighting meant tearing buildings down. The hikeshi carried giant hooks, ropes, and ladders. Their job was to pull apart houses and create fire breaks so flames couldn't spread. In their world, saving the neighborhood mattered more than saving anyone home. Fires in Edo spread with terrifying speed. A bucket of water was useless against an inferno. So hikeshi worked with strategy and muscle. They climbed rooftops, wrapped wet cloth around their bodies, and swung heavy hooks to rip beams and walls apart. Teams coordinated with flags and whistles. The sound of crashing timber meant progress, another barrier against the fire. It was brutal, dangerous work. Many firefighters died crushed under falling roofs or suffocated by smoke. Yet their courage earned them admiration from the towns they served. But hikeshi were known for more than their bravery. They were also style icons of Edo's floating world. They wore hanten jackets, often dyed with bold crests of their brigade. Before charging into flames, they drenched these coats in water, giving them a dark, dramatic sheen. And underneath, tattoos, elaborate full-body designs of dragons, tigers, carp swimming upstream, and Buddhist deities. These weren't just decoration, they were talismans, symbols of endurance and defiance. A firefighter's tattoo marked him as part of a brotherhood, someone unafraid of danger or of standing out. Over time, the hikeshi became more than firefighters. They became folk heroes of Edo's commoners. Known as machi no hana, the flowers of the town, they were admired for their flair, their toughness, and their swagger. Women adored them, and kabuki actors often played hikeshi characters on stage. But their reputation was complicated. Rival brigades often clashed. When two groups arrived at the same fire, fights sometimes broke out over who would claim the credit. These weren't polite disagreements, they were full-on street battles, ladders swinging like weapons, hammers crashing against helmets. For the shogunate, the hikeshi were both protectors and a constant source of unrest. Hikeshi culture spread far beyond the fire scene. Ukiyo-e prints celebrated their tattoos and daring stunts. Kabuki theater turned them into romanticized heroes, noble rogues who saved lives while defying authority. Their look, the jackets, the tattoos, the swagger, became a style copied by young men in Edo. In many ways, the hikeshi were the pop stars of their age, balancing between community service and outlaw cool. In the late 19th century, as Japan modernized during the Meiji era, Western-style firefighting departments replaced the old brigades. Steam pumps, organized training, and new equipment left little room for tattooed fire gangs. But the memory of the hikeshi never disappeared. Even today, their image survives in festivals, in traditional tattoo art, and in the popular imagination. They embody a uniquely Edo spirit, rowdy, flamboyant, but fiercely protective of their neighbors. The hikeshi remind us that history isn't just about rulers and wars. Sometimes it's about the people who kept a city alive, by tearing it down, one burning house at a time. This was the story of Edo's firefighting gangs, heroes, rebels, and cultural icons of a city forever threatened by fire. If you enjoyed this dive into Japan's hidden history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who loves learning about the untold sides of the past. Thanks for watching, and stay safe from the flames.